You don't always notice the exact moment love turns into routine. It creeps in quiet like rust on metal. At first, everything looks fine. Then one day, you realize the shine is gone and all you've got left is something brittle, ready to snap. For me, that moment came on a Sunday evening, 9:34 p.m., sitting on the living room couch I paid for, in the house I worked my ass off to buy, while my wife sat 3 feet away scrolling through Instagram Reels as if I wasn't even there. Her name's Laura. We've been married for 7 years, together for 9. No kids, something we kept saying we'd get around to, but deep down, I think we both knew she never really wanted them. She always liked the freedom, girls' trips, wine nights, spontaneous weekend getaways with her friends. I didn't mind. I'm not the controlling type. But somewhere along the way, freedom started looking a lot like absence. That night, I tried to start small talk. Something easy. Hey, you see the electric bill? It finally dropped this month. Guess the new thermostat's working. No response. Just the faint glow of her screen lighting up her face, thumb flicking like she was swiping her way out of this marriage one video at a time. I waited a moment, then tried again. Laura. She sighed, heavy, like answering me was the hardest part of her day. What? Nothing. Just, never mind. I turned back to the muted TV, some rerun playing that neither of us were watching. The silence in that room was louder than any argument we'd ever had. 15 minutes passed before she finally set her phone down and looked at me. Not with warmth. Not with softness. Just flat. You know what this feels like sometimes, she said. I glanced at her, already bracing myself. What? She shrugged, casual, almost bored. Like you're just my roommate. I blinked. Roommate. Yeah, I mean, think about it. We split bills, share the space, say hi when we cross paths. But it doesn't feel like a marriage anymore. It's like living with a roommate. She said it so calmly, like she was pointing out the weather. Like she wasn't slicing through me with a sentence that would echo in my head for days. I stared at her, trying to find the right words. But what came out was weak, defensive. I'm your husband, Laura, not your roommate. She gave a half smile, cold, almost mocking. Then maybe start acting like one. That was it. No follow-up, no explanation. She picked her phone back up and went right back to scrolling, leaving me sitting there like a man who just realized his marriage had been demoted to a lease agreement. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just sat there, staring at the coffee table, letting her words sink in. Roommate. That's what I'd been reduced to. And here's the thing, I'd been feeling it for months. The way she stopped reaching for me in bed. The way she'd leave for girls' nights without telling me where, when, or with who. The way she barely looked up when I came home from work. But hearing her say it out loud, it hit different. That night, I lay awake long after she fell asleep. Her back was turned to me, as always, the glow of her phone still lighting up the sheets until past midnight. I stared at the ceiling, playing her words on repeat. Just a roommate. At some point, maybe around 3 a.m., I realized something. If that's all I was to her, then maybe that's exactly what I'd become. And roommates? They don't carry the weight of a marriage on their back. They don't fight to keep someone's attention. They don't beg for affection. Roommates split bills. Roommates coexist. Roommates live their own lives. And if that's what she really wanted, then I was about to show her what life with just a roommate actually looks like. But not yet. Not tonight. Because when a man decides to stop being a husband and start being what his wife treats him as, the real change doesn't come with anger. It comes with silence, calculation, and a kind of cold clarity you can't undo once it settles in. And by the time I closed my eyes that night, I knew Laura had no idea what she had just started. The next morning, I woke up before Laura. Normally, I'd make coffee for both of us, set out her favorite mug, and leave a post-it note if I left early for work. That morning, I made one cup. Just mine. I sipped it in silence at the kitchen table, scrolling through my phone while she shuffled and half asleep, hair tied up, yawning. She glanced at the counter, then at me. No coffee, she muttered. I didn't look up. Roommates make their own coffee, right? Her eyes narrowed, but she didn't say anything. Just grabbed a mug and made her own. That was step one. Small, subtle, but deliberate. For the rest of the week, I kept it going. When the dishwasher finished, I emptied only my dishes, left her stacked neatly untouched. When I cooked dinner, I made exactly one portion enough for me. She'd walk into the kitchen, see me eating, and ask, "You didn't make enough for both of us?" I'd shrug. Didn't know roommates shared meals. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't cold. I was polite, respectful, but detached. And that's the part that rattled her the most. By Thursday, she started probing. "You've been quiet lately," she said one evening, standing in the doorway while I sat at the desk, reviewing some work emails. I didn't look up. "Just giving you what you asked for." What's that supposed to mean? I finally glanced at her, calm, steady. "You said I was just your roommate, so that's who I am now." She blinked, caught off guard, like she hadn't expected me to take her words seriously. "Don't be dramatic," she scoffed. "I didn't mean it like that." "Didn't you?" I asked. Then I turned back to my laptop. Conversation over. That weekend, the shift became impossible for her to ignore. Saturday mornings used to be our tradition. Pancakes, music in the kitchen, maybe a grocery run together. This time, I slipped out early, went to the gym, then grabbed breakfast alone at a diner down the street. I didn't leave a note, didn't text. When I walked back in around 11, she was sitting at the table with her arms crossed. "Where were you?" "Out," I said simply, hanging my keys on the hook. She frowned. "I was waiting." I thought we were going to. I cut her off gently. Roommates don't wait on each other. They live their own lives. Her jaw tightened. She wanted to argue, but she didn't. Instead, she muttered something under her breath and went back to scrolling her phone. But I could see the flicker in her eyes. Annoyance. Confusion. Maybe even a little panic. And that flicker fueled me. Because here's the truth. When you stop chasing someone who takes you for granted, they start noticing the space your effort used to fill. They start realizing the silence is heavier than the sound of your voice ever was. By the second week, the ripple effects were everywhere. I stopped covering her share of small expenses, the takeout orders, the Uber rides, the subscription services I'd been paying for without thinking. The joint credit card bill arrived, and for the first time, I only paid half. Exactly half. She noticed. "Why didn't you cover the full amount like usual?" "Because roommates split bills." The look she gave me was sharp, frustrated. But again, she said nothing. At night, the bed felt colder. She'd turn toward me sometimes, maybe testing if I'd reach for her. I didn't. I lay on my side, calm, steady, detached. And when she finally rolled back over with a huff, I stayed silent. Here's the thing, silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. By the third week, Laura was the one initiating small conversations, asking what I wanted for dinner, suggesting we watch a movie, even asking if I wanted to join her on a grocery run. I was polite, agreeable, but I never stepped back into the role of husband. Not once, because something had shifted inside me. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't heartbroken. I was clear. Clear on the fact that the woman lying next to me every night had already decided I wasn't worth the effort of love. And once you see that truth, you can't unsee it. I knew the end was coming. She didn't. Not yet. But I promised myself this. When it came, it wouldn't be loud. It wouldn't be messy. It would be simple, sharp, undeniable. Because sometimes the quietest decisions are the ones that change everything. By the third week, Laura couldn't ignore it anymore. The house felt different. Not in some dramatic way, no shouting, no slammed doors. Just quiet. A heavy quiet that made her restless. She'd test the waters in little ways. One night, she came into the living room wearing that old college hoodie of mine, the one she used to steal because she said it smelled like me. She curled up on the opposite side of the couch, glancing over like she expected me to comment. I didn't. Instead, I stayed focused on my book, flipping the pages slowly. I could feel her eyes on me, waiting for some sign I noticed. Nothing came. After 20 minutes, she huffed and left the room. That was the thing. I wasn't withholding affection as a game. I was simply done chasing. And once a man truly stops, the silence becomes its own message. The next day, she tried again. You've been distant lately, she said over dinner, stabbing at her salad like it had personally offended her. I shrugged. Just keeping things simple. She tilted her head. Simple? Yeah, roommates don't complicate each other's lives. They share space, split bills, and mind their own business. Isn't that what you said? Her fork froze midair. She opened her mouth, then closed it, like the words got stuck in her throat. Finally, she muttered, you're taking this too literally. I set my glass down gently. No, I'm just finally listening. Her face flushed red. Anger, embarrassment, maybe both. She didn't reply. That night, I heard her tossing and turning beside me. For the first time in months, she seemed unsettled. I almost smiled in the dark. Not out of spite, but because I knew she was starting to realize what her words had set in motion. By the fourth week, the cracks widened. On a Friday evening, she came home later than usual, smelling of cocktails and perfume. Old me would have asked where she'd been, who she was with. This version of me? I barely looked up from the football game. Out with friends, she announced, like I'd asked. Cool, I said, eyes still on the screen. That one word hit her harder than any lecture could have. She hovered in the doorway for a moment, expecting a fight. When it didn't come, she walked away, muttering under her breath. The next morning, she confronted me. Do you even care where I go? Or who I'm with? I looked her dead in the eye, calm and steady. Do roommates usually check in on each other like that? Her face twisted. Stop saying that. Why? I asked softly. That's what you wanted, isn't it? She didn't answer. Just stormed out of the room, slamming the bedroom door behind her. That slam echoed in my chest, not as pain, but as confirmation. She wanted freedom. She wanted distance. She wanted a husband who quietly carried the weight while she lived like she was single. Well, now she had exactly what she asked for. And it terrified her. But what she didn't know, what she couldn't know yet, was that I wasn't just pulling away emotionally. I was preparing. Quietly, carefully. Bank accounts separated. Personal documents secured. A new place already scouted. Because the truth was, I wasn't going to keep playing this role much longer. When the reveal came, it would be final. Clean. Irreversible. And I knew one thing for certain. She had no idea how close it already was. It happened on a Wednesday night. I came home from work, tired but steady, and found Laura sitting at the kitchen table with her arms crossed. She wasn't on her phone for once. She was waiting. We need to talk, she said. I hung my jacket up, calm as ever. About what? She looked frustrated, almost desperate. About us. About whatever this is. I sat across from her, leaning back in the chair. This is exactly what you asked for. Her eyes flashed. Stop saying that. You're twisting my words. I shook my head slowly. No, Laura. I'm living by them. You called me your roommate, and that's all I've been ever since. She pushed her hair back, exasperated. You're acting like I don't care about you. I gave a small, bitter laugh. Acting? Laura, you don't even realize how long I've been living like this. You stopped looking at me months ago. You stopped touching me. You stopped talking to me. That night you said I was just your roommate? That wasn't new. That was just the first time you told the truth out loud. Her face fell. For once, she had no comeback. Just silence. I reached into my bag and pulled out a plain envelope, slid it across the table toward her. She frowned, hesitated, then opened it. Inside were two things, a copy of the sign lease for a new apartment and divorce papers. Her eyes darted up, wide. What is this? I met her gaze, steady, unshaken. This is me giving you what you wanted. No more husband. Just a roommate. And after this week, not even that. The color drained from her face. You're leaving. Yes. My voice didn't waver. I've already moved my things into storage. The rest I'll take this weekend. You'll have the house. The bills. The silence you kept choosing over me. She shook her head slowly, like she couldn't process it. I didn't mean I cut her off. You did. Maybe not with those exact words, maybe not with that much finality. But every eye roll, every cold shoulder, every night you turned away from me in bed, it all meant the same thing. Tears welled in her eyes now, but I didn't soften. Don't do this, she whispered. Please. We can fix it. I leaned forward, calm but firm. No, Laura. You don't fix a marriage by waiting until the other person is already gone. You don't fix love by calling it roommates. And you don't get to wake up only when you realize the man you took for granted is done waiting. Her lip trembled. So that's it? I stood, picking up my keys. That's it. I paused at the doorway, looking back one last time. She was sitting there clutching the papers, tears streaming down her face, finally realizing what she'd thrown away. And I said the only words left in me, "Good luck with your new roommate." Then I walked out. I didn't slam the door, didn't raise my voice, didn't leave a dramatic mess behind. I just left. And in that quiet exit, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: peace. Because sometimes the most powerful goodbye isn't the one that shouts. It's the one that leaves in silence, with nothing left to prove.